Okay, I'm at HTA, which is a factory in Coopers Plains in Brisbane at number 5 Gay Street, Coopers Plains, and we have two people on the roof protesting the weapons manufacturing processes that are going on here. We've got to stop arming Israel. There are a lot of companies that rely upon this particular company because the people that make parts for the F-35, they have to be heat treated. So, for example, Farah Engineering makes the bomb parts that enable the Israeli F-35s to drop their bombs to flatten Gaza in the genocide. And these particular parts require heat treatment, and that's what is happening here at Coopers Plains. So we've got complicity in the genocide here by the Queensland Fire and Rescue, and therefore the Queensland government, the police. Now this is despite the fact that there is a clear directive from the International Court of Justice saying that you cannot have people assisting the plausible genocide, read genocide, that's occurring here. So the people on the roof are attempting to draw attention to what's happening. They've got their banner there, they've taken down their umbrella, and they're waiting for the fire brigade and the police negotiator to come up to the roof and to presumably entice them into coming down. What we have here is really a situation that has developed right around the world, where people are occupying factories, they're occupying offices, all of the machinery in the military-industrial complex that enables the Israel to actually continue into the 6th month of its genocide and ethnic cleansing of Gaza. So there we have it. We're looking now at the pod in which the police negotiator is standing, and the police are in support with the fire brigade, and the workers from the factory, they say that everything is operational, but I don't know that that's the case. I think there's enough workers out observing what's going on that the factory is effectively down tools for the time being. I did see some small parts going, and I'm seeing police now saying that this is another property here. I'm actually filming from another place. I'm not on HTA property. I'm in the property of BlueScope. So I haven't had any directive from BlueScope to leave this premises. There's an easement here going up into it's a steel manufacturer here. So we're just looking closely at what's going on here. We might just have a pause for a moment, waiting for the fire and rescue to get all their gear together. The two people on the roof are discussing what's going on here. They're wearing kaffirs in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle and resistance. It's a grey day here, a very grey. We're looking here at the local resistance, the Organising Palestinian Solidarity. They're here to observe what's going on. flying the Palestinian flag on the top of the factory. And fire brigade people making themselves complicit in the genocide by enabling this factory to operate and to heat the various parts that are needed for the F-35. Sorry, what was that?
Can you please hop out of this business and back onto the footpath?
What business is this?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
It's not part of it. Can you please hop
No,
back out onto the footpath?
they have to ask me to leave.
They don't have to. I'm asking you to. Can you please hop back out?
On what basis?
You're in the driveway. There's trucks coming in and out. You're a hazard.
There are no trucks here.
The same as these people. Please move out onto the road.
So just being moved out on the adjoining property. I haven't had any sort of, no one has actually said that the company is, that's the property that I'm on, the BlueScope. Yes, BlueScope, number 3.
So they want to fit 2 people and their gear.
I want to say a few words here now, Lenny. Just considering that we're a live stream here, what's actually happening?
Well, this morning at 3 o'clock, 2 brave souls made it to the roof of HTA. HTA is what you would call a third tier part in the weapons production chain. They are the only qualified heat treating agent for the F-35 program. Without HTA, all the other companies here in Australia that produce weapon parts couldn't really have any business because they need the special treatment that HTA is certified for to sell their produce.
Can I get you to get off this roadway here?
This is not a roadway, this is a
Well,
footpath.
there's trucks coming in and out, so I need you to go in there, please,
There's no
sir.
trucks.
There is. Where are you going?
Okay, so we've got the... No, anyway, sorry for that interruption.
Like always, the police sides with the weapons dealers and is
Making
slightly
them
harassing.
complicit, I'd say.
Absolutely, and right now there is a fire truck with I think 3 or 4 negotiators taking to the roof. I hope they won't use any violence to remove the 2 who are, as I heard, very prepared to be there for the long haul, because it's seriously important to disrupt the supply chain. Without all the weaponry, Israel cannot continue its genocide. There is a lot of resistance on the ground in Gaza, but these weapons of mass destruction, for which components come from Australia, they keep the killing going. Without more bombs and more parts that are needed to drop the bombs, Israel can't continue this systematic slaughter of women, children and men that have done nothing wrong, whose only crime is to exist, whose only crime is to want to live on the land where they lived for generations. So it is quite exciting to see what happens, whether it will be just a negotiation or whether the negotiators will stop off and potentially use violence to drag the protesters off the roof. We had a negotiator coming over claiming that the roof is not really safe, which is quite ironic because the Queensland government definitely supports HTA, and there is a roof safe solution next door, and if they have trouble with their roof, if it's rusty, if it's dangerous, then they could just go over to their neighbor and potentially have it fixed. So I guess it's one of the convenient lies that have been told, and that describes this genocide going on pretty well. It is showing how much people in uniform, how much journalists, how much officials lie, and lie. And whoever has access to social media and open mind can make up their own opinion. And while there might be a lot of fake in images from both sides out there, the overall picture, especially from the brave journalists that have been reporting from Gaza, shows very clearly what's happening. And without this on the ground work, we would probably still be in deep slumber and thinking that Israel just defends itself, which is the biggest travesty ever, and is eroding the common understanding of justice, because what happens in Palestine is not in any way compatible with our understanding from justice. And while corporations and politicians do nothing about it, we have to step in. And that's why I salute the two that are up on the roof and those that came here now in the rain to support them, because it's up to us, the people, to put a spanner in the works of the death machinery. Without this, the genocide will continue, and not only in Palestine, it will spread to Lebanon, and it will spread to Syria, and it already spread it to East Jerusalem and West Bank. So we have to do our best to stop the production and distribution of weapons that are used for this terrible genocide, the biggest crime of the 21st century, which makes look 9/11 like a kindergarten stunt.
Yes, I saw some very disturbing images yesterday of the Israeli F-35s bombing Al-Shifa hospital for, well, I've seen it bombed 3 times in this particular 5-month genocide. And I heard the medical staff saying that the actual Department of Surgery was under attack, where they've got patients that require treatment. So there are, of course, other aspects to the way in which we assist the genocide here in Australia. I think that there is a professor coming from Tel Aviv University. She's a professor of anaesthetology and obstetrics, and she has been giving carte blanche for Israel to actually bomb those hospitals, and yet she's been invited to speak here at a convention in the convention centre. So what do you say about that aspect of the complicity, I suppose, in what's going on?
Well, there's always the excuse that Israel claims to minimize civilian damage. The Gaza Strip was the most thoroughly surveilled area on this planet. Elbit, the company that was just granted $1 billion contract by the Australian government, is responsible for the surveillance drones, for the checkpoint technology. So there is no way that Israel doesn't know exactly where their bombs drop. But even if they had some Hamas operative among 100 civilians, with a 500-pound or 1,000-pound bomb, you always kill everybody who's around. But targeting a hospital, and this is systematically happening since October, that all parts of the civilian infrastructure are destroyed. So personally, I would definitely want a ban of any visas from people for people coming from Israel, unless this genocide stops. We don't know how complicit they are, but most likely they will promote the ongoing genocide. They will justify it, and I think we had enough of this. Cheap excuses for the biggest crime of the 21st century, and allowing people, giving them a podium. Australia banned visas for right-wing extremists that wanted to go on a speaking tour, and it is known, and there's no doubt and no denial that Israel has right now the worst right-wing government they ever had. So basically, just on the fact that most likely proponents of Israel are right-wing extremists, we could stop them from coming to the country. So I'm horrified how much support from the tiny part of society that can override rules and regulation, that can override our understanding of justice by decisions that are just unacceptable.
Yeah, you're talking there about trying to stop right-wing people from coming to this country. At the same time that they're allowing those people to come here, the Australian government has refused a visa application by Layla Khalid, who is well into her 70s. She's a long-time supporter of Palestine. She's a Palestinian herself. Various peace groups have invited her to come and to speak on the crisis that's going on, and they've dragged up an accusation that we know that she is the leader of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, but they're dragging up a 55-year-old accusation that she took part in a hijacking in 1969. But a woman of 74, 75, I don't think pose much of a threat, but no, they're not going to allow her in.
It is about the suppression of the other side. This conflict is reported from the official side very one-sided. It's all about October the 7th and the right to self-defense. And luckily, social media pierced through the veil of censorship that exists here in Australia and allowed people to form an independent opinion. And to have people like Layla coming to Australia would potentially help a lot of people who are probably still sitting on the fence to make up their mind and hear from people on the ground, and that are not paid for propaganda like a lot of the people that promote Israel's view of affairs. So it's pretty shocking how much anyone now coming from Palestine is automatically considered a terrorist. It's going back to the Islamophobia that we had after 9/11, that just by virtue of your origin or your belief, you're considered a no-goodnik. I don't know how much Australian politicians already subscribe to the terrible genocidal thought that Palestinians are human animals. But those people are invited, and those human animals, in quotation marks, that could rectify the picture and show that it is a cultured people, that it's an educated people, that it's a peaceful people, those are banned from coming here. That's outrageous.
You got anything to add, Lenny? How did you get involved in this struggle?
I want to get out of the feeling of helplessness in just witnessing a situation that exceeds what I learned in school about the Holocaust. When I came to Australia, I was often asked why didn't the German people stop the Holocaust, and I thought, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in a situation like this, and now we are in a situation like this because German's genocide was largely self-sufficient. There was a little bit support by the Americans, IBM and General Motors, but basically it had to be done by its own people and its own weapons and its own manufacturing. But now genocide has become a global affair, and we have an opportunity to put a spanner in the works by finding out where does the genocide lead to and who contributes in my neighborhood. And Brisbane is shockers with weapons companies. There's Rheinmetall, there's Noya, there's Thales, there's Boeing, and then second and third supply chain companies like HTA and Farah and Maraude and Rosebank. And I'm actually quite proud to be here together with some people that try to do their little bit in raising awareness of the fact that people involved in genocide live in our neighborhoods. And it removes the feeling of helplessness in just watching the terrible thing, because I think a lot of people have switched off by now.
Thanks a lot, Lenny. Good one.